Olympia week here at Muscle in the Morning, and I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, September 13th, 2018. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Momentum is one of those things in sports that you can't really measure, but you know it exists because you can feel it as an athlete. And after what she did at last weekend's Arizona Pro, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that there isn't a single athlete in the women's physique division who's got more momentum than Natalia Coelho right now. All year long, it's been pretty obvious to anyone who's been paying attention that Coelho was slated to be one of the prime contenders for the title. But with Juliana Malacarni out of the picture and that dominating performance still fresh in the minds of the judges, you can't help but wonder if Coelho has a legitimate shot at the title. Outside of the top 2 or 3 right now, it's a straight up dogfight for who's going to fill out the rest of the men's physique card this year. But one of the guys that I've had my eye on for the last few weeks as a potential top party crasher is Ondrej Kmostak. The third-year pro ended up being one of the most surprising real estates in the division last season with his top 8 finish at the Olympia. And after laying low the entire first half of the season to prep for this contest, it feels like he's someone who's poised to touch down and hit the ground running. The talent in this men's physique division is so close at the top that judging it almost feels like you're splitting hairs sometimes. But when the margin for error is that small, it represents a perfect opportunity for guys like Kamastack to slide in and take advantage of the opportunity. You know, biologists say the fight or flight system has evolved in us to help us react to extreme circumstances, and it's one of the keys to our survival as a species. And now that he's staring down the barrel of one of the biggest challenges of his career, I think it's probably time for Brandon Hendrickson to kick that bad boy into high gear. The former Arnold Classic champ is heading into this year's contest after one of the strangest years of his career, a year that included a handful of wins, a beef with Andre Ferguson, and this new Zen-like attitude that he's taken on heading into the 2018 Olympia. So, if he can dive deep into that meditative zone and channel some of those Darwinian survival instincts, I can't say that I'd be completely shocked if he ended up the weekend as the division's newest champion. Usually by today, we're done seeing any last-minute updates from the athletes heading into this weekend's events because they're so locked into survival mode that most of them can barely function. But apparently, nobody told Steve Laureas he was supposed to be playing it cool. The first-time Olympian released a sneak peek update yesterday where he gave his fans a quick look at what he's calling the best conditioning of his entire career. From a structural standpoint, Laureus is as gifted as any athlete he'll be up there sharing the stage with. But unless he really smashes one out of the park from a conditioning standpoint, you have to wonder if he has enough muscle at this point in his career to hang with some of those certified killers roaming around there at the top of the leaderboard. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember that first scene in Terminator when you found out that Arnold was really a robot. But after the update that I saw from Terrance Ruffin earlier this week, it honestly wouldn't shock me if I found out that this dude was part machine. All I'm hearing from my people close to the Ruffin camp are rave reviews about how hard this guy worked throughout his entire prep. And when you look at these pictures, it isn't hard to figure out why. For me, seeing a guy who pays attention to the details in his presentation like Ruffin is almost like a throwback to another era. And more often than not, the difference between those who can and those who can't almost always boils down to the details. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.